Lalit Sharma has over 20 years of experience in managing client engagement, training management, investor education. He is associated with top Indian private companies, insurance companies, asset management companies at various positions, with customer orientation as a core objective. Currently, he manages investor education and distribution development initiative for North Zone at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC Limited. He has graduated from Delhi University itself and got his master's from Symbiosis Pune in marketing. He has over 20 years of experience in managing client and training. Service recovery and investor education has been associated with the top Indian private banks, insurance company, asset management company, and various positions, with customer orientation as a core objective. Currently, Sir is managing investor education, distribution development initiative in North Zone. We welcome you, sir. We welcome you to just give a deep insight over mutual funds so that all the participants who are here can just take a decision regarding selection of mutual funds. And also if there is any grievance and any problem associated with it, they can just take suggestion from you and they have clear insight over it. So over to you, sir. Now you can address to the participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pratibha. I'm really overwhelmed and privileged to be invited for this esteemed forum. And congratulations to Delhi University for taking up this financial literacy initiative in association with AMFI. Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund also pioneers into this particular field, where we have conducted over 11,000 investor awareness programs with various group of segments. So once again, good afternoon, everyone, and for taking out time. Today, I give you liberty to stop me anywhere during my presentation for the questions. I would like to make this session as interactive as possible because trainings are for trainees. So it has to serve the purpose for today. So I'll share my screen, and I would like to understand the biggest event which has happened in the country yesterday. What was that, which actually impacts everyone's finances? You can interact through chat box.
The participants can mute themselves.
Exactly. So
and then speak.
Any key takeaways for anybody which actually impacts your personal finance out of that budget?
Sir, we have responses in the chat.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Shyam. What was there for you in that budget?
Sir, good afternoon. My name is Rajneesh Prakash Verma.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, after checking the whole thing, what was presented yesterday, we can see that the tax burden got reduced because of new tax slab rate.
Okay.
And we have just evaluated that thing. So that is one happy moment for us, because after saving so much also, we were not able to tax.
Okay. All right.
Okay. After utilizing ATC deduction and other deduction also, we were not able to save that much tax. But after this new tax slab rate, I think we can save significant amount of tax.
Okay. So apart from that tax slab or tax rebate, anything else which you could relate yourself with the budget? Okay. So guys, I'll keep on, putting up these questions to you during the session. So please be ready, and that gives me insight that where do I need to take the session to. So give me a second, I'll just share my screen. Ma'am, can you please confirm whether you are able to?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay.
Your screen is visible.
So the first and foremost question, with anybody who, wants to start the investment journey or, when we start making money. So the first and foremost thing comes that where should I start? And why I asked this budget thing from you all, we all, talk about budgets, and this particular thing will remain in our minds for say next 15 days or a month. So, and after that, you all would be, busy with your, routine work and forget about it. See, the idea is, are you also preparing your budgets? You are ready to, listen to budgets from the finance minister every year. But people don't care about their own budgets. See, when government makes the budget, they have two objectives only. One is to, reduce their fiscal liabilities and, increase their revenue. So please borrow these two pointers every time from the budget, which you also need to apply to your own budgets, that you need to increase your incomes levels, whether it is, by reducing your expenses or by increasing, more financial, cash flows, or, by increasing your income. So, and of course, by decreasing your debt side or the liability side. So these two aspects we'll talk about, and how it impacts anybody's personal finance. We'll also touch upon few things, and then we move on to uh, mutual funds, how it helps you, build up a portfolio over a period of time. And as one of these sessions, we'll also talk about how to manage, how to reach out to mutual funds for grievances management. At the same time, also take questions from you if you have any on a personal front. So how to start, where to start? You need to understand your financial position. Financial awareness doesn't mean that how much salary you get every month and what are your expenses. Financial position also means that what happens to your money, which is not utilized. Okay, in our financial institutions, 150 lakh crore is lying in the banks. Okay, 150 lakh crores is lying in the bank balances of people in the country today. You need to know your income expenses. So mostly people are aware, but when we actually do the workshop with people that, are you really aware of your expenses? They are not. And although we are a savers country, in the 70s and 80s, our saving rate was 70%. If we used to earn 100 rupees, we used to, manage our household within 30 rupees, and 70 rupees we used to save. Today, people can argue that time, even if you had money, you didn't have, resources to buy or, get things, because people used to buy things in black market, or, they were kind of queues, or, even for a telephone connection, you had to wait for say 5 years or so. Gas cylinder, you have to wait another 3 years, 4 years, and same was the case with the Bajaj, Chetak, or anything for that matter. By the time this liberalization, globalization started happening, countries started producing stuff, people had opportunity to buy stuff. So our saving rate started reducing. Today also we have saving rate of 25%, which is again very good across countries, across globe. But the Gen Z, which is the new generation, the saving rate has dropped to 10% kind of a level, which is worrisome for the country, because we really need money, to be saved and invested. Why it has happened? Because now you can buy things at rupee 1, and you pay everything in the installments. That means that you're actually spending your future income. So anything which is taken on EMIs, that means that you are spending your future income. So forget about investments, forget about compounding, forget about wealth creation if you have that kind of habit of buying things. Okay. So know how much you can invest every month. You need to understand. Until unless you know income expenses, you will not be able to plan for your investments. And as of now, 1 second, can you just give me a second, please? Okay. And see, most of the investments, happens with the, herd mentality, that my friend has done, my colleague has done, my husband has done, my wife has done, or, somebody coming and giving you, which we have seen in terms of cryptos. So anybody here invested in cryptos past 3 years? Because COVID, we didn't have much time, but to, spend money like that, because you were not spending money as such. So people thought of making quick bucks. Anybody invested in quick cryptos in the group?
Sir, not till now, but still we want to explore it further. It is not standardized thing in our market, but if you can give some overview about this, that would be great.
So far you haven't, but still thinking. Okay, any wild guesses? What was the size? What was the number in the country where people have invested in cryptos? Any wild guess? Six crore people in our country invested in cryptos, and almost 15,000 crores. Today, what is the rate? I mean, what is the return in cryptos? Can anybody guess?
Sir, with reference to what time horizon?
Last 3 years? Or you always see the current returns because they always, give it since inception, right? So it is minus 55%. All stories, of making short-term money, all stories of multi-bagging or, cryptos going haywire, their resultant is minus 55%. So never fall for these false, or short-term returns thing. You need to define your goals, because any investment, if it is not mapped to any goals, will be a gambling or it will be a trade. Okay, you will never, be able to hold your breath or hold your, patience when you see returns generating. So give priority to emergency fund and retirement, because COVID, we have seen the requirement, and emergency people actually struggled, and they actually realized the, importance of creating emergency fund. And I'll talk about retirement later. So when we, define SMART goals, SMART means your goal has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, it has to be realistic, and it has to be time bound. So can somebody give me example of a SMART goal which you have in life? Obviously, it has to have monetary value. We can have other dreams, but I'm talking about dreams which has monetary value. A goal which has to be specific, like for example, I need to buy, say, an SUV in next 5 years. So I have given 5-year time. I have given specific that I need to be more specific. So I need to buy, say, Globestar, that is the SUV next 5 year, which is MG Hector's company, and it has to be measurable. So I know it is almost 40 lakh rupees. So it is measurable. Achievable, I think I can achieve. I am not, aiming for something which is more than 1 crore or something. So I can achieve. So it has to be achievable. It has to be realistic. I am not asking for Mustang or something like that. And I have also defined the time that in 5 years, I need to take this. This is called SMART definition of your goals. You need to define your goals the way I've just mentioned. Okay. So can somebody else, give me some examples of SMART goals which you have in your life with this same?
We have a response. Mr. Himanshu is saying that he want to buy a BMW by 2025.
Okay.
It is written in the chat. Yes.
Great. So this is how we define our goals. Okay. Please don't have these vague ideas in your mind. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, I do that. I need to plan for my kids. I need to, go for a foreign trip. I need to buy, a better car or a better house. These are all vague ideas. You need to actually plan, because these ideas, all your financial goals, they, actually trouble you while you sleep. Okay. In your subconscious mind, you have those, goals in your mind. Just try to be more specific, plan your, program your subconscious mind with this definition. Okay. So that then only you will be able to, plan it structurally and invest wisely. I'll just take you through. Look at this example. What we are trying to do here is that suppose there is a goal which has a value of 10 lakh today. Okay. We also need to look at inflation. Everybody understands, I'm considering that everybody understands what inflation is in this group. And number of years to goal is 10. So amount required for this goal is not 10 lakh. It will be 19 lakh 67,000. Okay, the goal could be your child's education. See, normally people do the mistake of calculating current values. They never, calculate future values of your goals. Because since you have not calculated the future value, you don't plan investment likely. So you have to be mapping, you have to be aware of these kind of cost escalation. At least 1 year's expenses in safe or highly liquid funds or your savings account is important for your emergency fund. Tomorrow, if for any bad reason or anything for that matter, if your monthly income stops due to any reason, you should not be, asking for money from anyone. Your money should be able to manage you or to take care of you, at least your household expenses. Review your health and life insurance policies because people take them as expense. They are not expense. They are very important for you. And one more thing, please, note it down. Never ever mix insurance and health. Insurance in particular, combining both life as well as health with investment. Okay. This is the biggest mistake people do when they try to, mix the two. Because, when we talk to people, they say, I have done my investment. I have taken care of my investment. What have you done? I have bought policies. So policies and investments is entirely different ball game. Okay. A small example for anybody just to understand your existing liabilities, say 23 lakhs, you have a loan running 23 lakhs, your living expenses is say 2 crore 40 lakhs over a life, and a wealth as a legacy you want to leave behind. If you are not there, 1 crore, your existing assets are 1 crore, so you need to have insurance coverage of 2 crore 63 lakhs, because 23 lakhs will go to the bankers or the lenders, and rest your family will utilize lifelong with the same, if you want them to, live with the same lifestyle, if this is what your financial position is. So the ratios are, according to the liabilities and what are your expenses, everything. So you need, this example is just given to you just to keep in mind that people have, 25, 50 lakh loan, and they see that it is adequate. That is not adequate. It has to cover your, legacy, your existing assets, your living expenses, and your liabilities. So, we talk about savings versus investment. I would like to ask you, what do you understand by savings and investment? What is the difference between savings and investment, as per your understanding? What do you call saving and what do you call investment?
Participants can unmute and speak.
Yeah, you can
just write in the chat.
Respond, or you can respond through chat, whichever way you are convenient. What is saving and investment as per your understanding?
I think sir is audible to everyone. So kindly unmute and
yeah, you can unmute and respond.
Saving means amount of investment, amount of money, income not spent.
Okay.
That is, and expenditure. Investment means you are putting your money, saving to some use, to some purpose. For example, for earning return and safety and security.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So as rightly said, the money cycle is that we earn money, and the moment we earn money, the first thing what we do, we spend it, and whatever is left after spending is our surplus, or we also call it saving. So we, save money. And investment is whenever you put your money to any asset class or any, avenue where the money has the capability of appreciating in its value over a period of time is called investment. Okay. Like if you buy a gold coin, or you buy a property, or, or you buy anything which has income generation or appreciating value, or appreciating quality in terms of, over a period of time, is investment. If you buy something like car, or, anything electronic gadget or something which, goes down in its value over a period of time, that is not investment, that is depreciating value. Okay. So we need to understand clearly what is investment. And then there is another definition towards it. The next level is that whenever you are investing, you need to look at real return. Real return means you need to be aware of what is inflation rate in the market. So sometimes people, normally aged people, they, senior and super senior people, they claim that there was a time when SBI used to give them 10-11%, 10 to 11% interest, okay, on their fixed deposits. So was it the right? I mean, was it enough that time? Today, 11% is a dream, right? That SBI gives you 11% per annum return on your fixed deposit. You will not get it. So then you have to tell them that, at that time, the inflation in the country was also 10%. So 11 minus 10 is the real return. 11 is nominal return. So 11 minus 10, which is inflation rate, you get the real return. So your real return was 1%. So compare it with a scenario when your bank is giving you 8% and your inflation is 6%. Your real return is how much? 2%. So your money has grown by 2%. And when you add post-tax, and I don't know whether anything positive remains with you or not. So you need to always calculate wherever you put your money into, because we'll talk about some asset classes also later. Wherever you invest your money, whether you are generating real return or not, you need to be aware of what are the inflation numbers in the market, until unless your money or money value is maintained. I'll take you to one of the slides. See, you can look at this particular slide where what we have shown is depreciating value of your money over a period of time because of inflation. Okay. Guys, this is the crux of investment, because you need to maintain the purchasing power of your money over years, right? Because the money value, purchasing power of your money depreciates because of inflation every year. The investment needs to come into picture to at least maintain that value intact. Okay. So 2000 actually becomes half in 10 years if there is 6.5% inflation in the country. So your 2000 has to earn how much to maintain that value in 10 years? Almost 2000, right? Because it is gone down by 50%. It has to actually earn 50% in 10 years time to keep its purchasing power intact. The entire investment gamut is all about this. Okay, this is the crux of investment, what I'm showing you today. That you need to maintain the purchasing power of your money. If you just keep on accumulating money and thinking that this is your wealth, you are mistaken. Okay, because over a period of time, the purchasing power of your money will go down. We have seen many examples, especially with retired people. Okay, when they retire, they have ample amount, keeping in that particular period of time. And over a period of time, say next 10 years, 15 years, they start feeling the burn because their money has not grown as per the inflation. They have just, earned the normal returns, which comes from the traditional products, and not been able to beat inflation rates. And over a period of time, that money is not enough. Okay, so this is the biggest problem people do, and awareness thing actually tells you that you need to maintain the purchasing power of your money. That doesn't mean you start gambling. You need to be aware, and there are avenues which I'll talk about later. See this example, because normally, people who have just started working, or, they've not started, investing, they need to understand that there are Suresh, Kamlesh, Ramesh, they are three friends, they have started working. And, one guy, he thought that he should start investing right from the, age 30. The moment he started earning, he should be, start investing. And Suresh thought that he just started earning, but there's, so many, long wait, almost 15 years of studies, and, then, money has started coming. It's a time to enjoyment, the time to, splurge money. So he waited 5 years. Kamlesh thought that now I just got married, I, need to, enjoy my life. So let's wait for another 5 years, then I'll start investing. So the final value, even if they start if somebody started investing 5,000 per month, and even if we take say 12%, why we have taken 12%, I'll tell you later. So the difference is like this. You can see there is huge difference, and we also call it cost of delay, or delay of 5. Okay, just 5,000 a month can actually create a lot of value over a period of time. This is what we call that you need to take advantage of power of compounding. Everyone knows how power of compounding works, but nobody actually plans to take the advantage of it. Okay, you need to have patience. You need to, keep stayed invested in the market without looking at where it is going. Okay, I know nowadays, like 7-8 days, due to Adani issue, market is actually volatile. It is going up and down, and people are actually getting jittery. They are thinking that they should book profits and, sit aside, but that's not, the way you should do. Obviously, these are something which you guys must be teaching in your classes, but you also need to start taking advantage of it. So obviously, I need to talk about mutual fund as well. Many of you must be, aware of what mutual funds are, but just for the benefit of all, I'll just touch upon, like, it is a, bus, where it is going to a destination. That destination means that there is a, particular scheme with some objective, and there are multiple investors with same objective, and, they will travel this particular bus till the time their destination comes, and they deboard the bus, and bus keeps going. So this is what mutual fund is all about. The process is that there are a pool of investors, they pool in their money, and they put into a particular mutual fund, where fund managers, whose job is to, keep investing money, they prepare investment strategy, and they do risk assessment and deploy funds. Profit and loss belongs to the investor. Mutual fund works on a fee-based income. They don't run their balance sheets like, a traditional organization does. Their profit and loss comes out of the total funds they manage and what is the fee they generate. The investment belongs to the investors. Okay, and these are highly transparent. There are certain benefits like liquidity. You need to generate liquidity, your money should be available to you. So mutual funds, there are types where you can withdraw money within 1 working day. And nowadays, we also have apps where you redeem your money within 10 seconds. 10 seconds, money comes to your bank account. It has to be convenient. So every mutual fund is now technology based. So there are third-party apps also, through which you can invest money into mutual funds and redeem also. Risk diversification, there are, 2 ways you diversify risk in mutual fund. One is there are multiple people, so they share, each other's risk. And of course, when you have say 1 lakh to invest and you go to market, so there are certain shares which value say 20,000, 30,000 per share kind of, that is the kind of expensive shares. So you hardly have, a partial share of that particular company. But through mutual fund, you can actually have, units of at least 30, 40 stocks, quality stocks through that 1 lakh rupees. So that is how the risk is diversified through mutual fund. there is flexibility. You can, any type of mutual fund, you can switch, anytime as per your convenience. And these are transparent funds, like your portfolio disclosure happens every month. They are duty bound to tell you where the money is parked, how much percentage money is parked in which company, which shares. And the NAV, which is net asset value, which is per unit value of that particular scheme, is declared every day. So you know the valuation of your investment any time during the year. Okay. If you compare it with the other options like fixed deposit is also a kind of loan which you go to give to the bank. But if you go and ask the bank that where that particular FD amount is invested or lended to, he won't be able to give you that portfolio statement. But mutual funds are duty bound to tell you where your money is being allocated. It is highly regulated by SEBI, which is Security Exchange Board of India. So, sometimes people ask that how do they differentiate between mutual fund schemes? So there are three types of mutual fund. One is equity schemes, which is nothing but stocks, shares in the market, and debt schemes, which are bonds or debentures, which could be from the government, from the banks, or from the big corporates. So there are debt schemes also, there are equity schemes, and there are hybrid scheme, which is mix of both shares as well as bonds or debentures. So equity means ownership, profit loss is all yours. Debt means lending loan, you get the interest and your capital back after the loan tenure overs. So the most important factor as well as risk when you come to the stock market or anything which is market linked. It is not only stocks which are market linked, there are bonds also which are market linked. So you need to manage the volatility. So this volatility comes with any particular reason. Now, if the market is say down, the issue is only with Adani, not with others, right? Other companies are doing well. There is no problem with that, but still their value of those shares is also going down. And similarly, when there are positive news, it will go up. Like market yesterday was up 1,000 points. I mean, they have not done something great in one day's time, right? They've been doing their stuff as usual, but still their valuation has gone up, say, by 1,000 points. So you should not be worried about those volatility. You need to manage this volatility. How do we manage this volatility is the key. So first and foremost is the systematic transactions, which we always advise people to go for. So the first and foremost is that you give instructions to your bank, and there are monthly installments or weekly installments. So you call it systematic investment plan. So this is one of the most, I would say this is the blessing for retail investors, small time investors, so that they can participate into the share markets or financial markets for that matter. Because money has been generated into financial markets. I will give you one example later, but this is something, a mode which actually gives you, opportunity to participate in this market. And nowadays you can also participate in international market also through SIP mode. And if you have say lump sum money, still in this volatile market, we don't suggest that you straight away put into equity, because market is volatile. You don't know the levels as of now. So what we suggest, you put your lump sum into a liquid fund and give a systematic transfer plan to equity, so that by the time you apply, from liquid fund to equity, you take the advantage of liquid fund returns as well as equity fund allocation as well. So we call it systematic transfer plan or STP. So even today, liquid funds are giving 6% returns, which we consider to be safest of all category. And at the time of withdrawal, because it is not just investment, your withdrawal also need to be systematic. So you have created a corpus. Now you need money back in your bank account, but not in lump sum, so that money is invested somewhere, and you give the instruction to mutual fund, and they keep transferring money at your set frequency, weekdays, a weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, or quarterly. So we call it systematic withdrawal plan. So the first and foremost, to manage volatility, you need to be systematic. You need to be regular. You cannot choose your time. It has to be regular and small. right? So these are some of the transactions. And then there is another advantage of rupee cost averaging when we, ask you to go for systematic and regular investment plans. So suppose there is an SIP value of 3,000 and 1 month the NAV of the scheme was 30 rupees, another month it was 20 rupees, and next month it was again 20 rupees only. So in both the cases, you have actually invested 6,000 rupees and 9,000 rupees respectively. So number of units which you have bought is 250. Okay. So your average cost has come to 24 rupees instead of 30 and 20. But if it keeps on going, like, so your average purchase value is coming down to 22.5. So the next month again, the idea is that even the market is low, you will keep on going to the average or the minimum cost value, which is 20 rupees. So next month it will go to 20 rupees. But what is happening in this particular scenario is, since the time you are only spending 33,000 every month, you're actually buying more units. Okay. So instead of 100 units, you have actually bought 150 units, 150 units. So if the market has gone up, otherwise, say 35 and then 40 rupees, so going up means going up in the NAV value. So for example, if I have a goal which is say 5 years away or 10 years away or a 15-year away, I have to pray that my SIP should accumulate more units with the same amount every month. Because when the value goes up, you will see the magic of compounding. Okay. If, from month 1 and going ahead, your market goes up because everyone likes market going up, you will generate moderate return, because with same amount of SIP, you will be buying less units next month. Okay, because market's going up. So if market is one directional, you will end up buying or end up accumulating less units. So if someone knows that from here market only goes up, why to invest regularly? Just, take loan and invest, because from wherever you enter, you will make money. But since market doesn't go that way, market goes up and down, we need to take SIP route, because one, it gives me ease because I'm not putting entire money, I'm going by small money. Second, it gives me discipline. And third, most important is rupee cost averaging. I actually accumulate more when markets are low. Okay. And there's another, feature in SIP mode is step up. So anything which you have invested, say for 10 years, for 15 years, your incomes and your surplus are also going to increase. So why not increase your investment? So you can see the difference, like somebody doing 10,000 SIP every month, holding period is 360 months. You're just increasing these, SIP amount by 10% every year, because your salaries and your savings, everything is going to increase every year. By just adding 10% value of your SIP amount every month, your returns are multifold, from 2.5 crore to 6.9, almost 3 crores. Okay, additional amount you generate and you don't even realize it. We have plenty of example, people actually created wealth by doing this. Okay, it is not impossible, because people think that creating wealth or generating this kind of amount is, possible only if you have ample money or large amount of money. It is not that. Market is for everyone. Anyone can create wealth, but you just need to participate. Participation doesn't mean gambling. Okay, I'm not asking you to gamble. This is just the portion of your total saving. It is not entire money. This is how we select. Okay, as we mentioned earlier, that you need to define your goals. So these are short-term goals. There are medium-term goals and long-term goals. So long-term goals is your retirement. Okay. And short-term goals would be, your kids' higher education, or maybe, buying a house next year, or, going for a holiday next year, or there's some, big, expense coming up next year or next 2 years, 3 years. So anything less than 3 years is your short-term goal. So you need to invest in lower risk but low return kind of investment, so that there is no volatility, there is no risk of volatility that when you have to take out money, the market valuation is low. Medium term goal is somewhere around 3 to 5 years, 7 years, where you need to take a moderate kind of a risk, kind of a return investment. We'll talk about that. And then there are long term, which has to be high risk and high return. See, it is always risk versus reward equation. There's no free lunches. You cannot have highest return with zero risk. If you know anything which has highest return in the market with zero return, please let me know. This is how we map our investments in the category of funds. Like if you have something contingency fund, park your money for windfalls, returns or gains, it should be less than 1 year. You need to go for liquid mutual funds, which is money market instruments. So anything which is under 1 year, that is money market. So you need to invest, park your money in liquid mutual funds. They generate normally better returns than a savings bank account. Okay. And short term, anything less than 1 to 3 years, you need to go for debt mutual funds, which can be your vacations, car purchase, or anything. And then medium term, 3 to 6 years, you need to go for balanced fund. You need to add a little bit of equity portion here, which could be your house purchase, car purchase, depending upon what is the time horizon you're looking at. And then long term, anything beyond 5 years, we term it as long term, which could be your children's education, dream house. That has to be diversified equity mutual funds. Anything beyond 10 years has to be equity and little bit of mid cap, small cap, because these mid cap, small cap becomes large cap over a period of time. So this could be your retirement, your children's future, wealth creation for next year generation. These are long-term goals. As an investor, what should I do? We need to do asset allocation, because 90% of returns are based out of asset allocation people use rather than selecting a particular asset class. So I'll talk about a little bit of asset allocation and rebalancing. So asset allocation is, you need to understand your own ability to take risk. And you also need to have the willingness to take risk. There are people who have large sum of money, but they don't take risk because their ability to take risk is not there. There are people who have less money, but they are willing to take more risk. So both the cases are not good, because if you have money, you need to also have the willingness to take risk. If you don't have money, don't take risk, even if you have willingness to take risk, because we will not advise you. You have less money, you should take less risk. If you have larger money, you can allocate part of that money into risk. So we need to sometimes match ability versus willingness. People get confused with these two things, but this is very important. Even willingness will not do, or ability also will not do. You need to have combination of both. Allocate money across various asset classes. Not only mutual fund, you need to allocate money to gold, you need to allocate money to real estate, you need to allocate to fixed deposit. You need to allocate across whatever is realistic, whatever is regulated, okay, and legitimate. There are illegitimate asset classes also, short-term asset classes also, which we don't advise at all. You need to go for regulated, that tomorrow if something happens, you have some regulator to go for. Okay. And there has to be someone monitoring that particular asset class. It should not be like unauthorized or illegal or illegitimate. There are multiple issues which we see at SEBI's office every now and then. In fact, there was I don't know how many of you are aware of PACL, Punjab Agrochemical Limited. Anyone heard of that name? That company was actually selling plants. Plants on a particular land of piece of land to people, and many educated people invested in that scheme. That scheme was sold to over 6 to 7 crores people across India. And the size of that particular scheme was almost 35,000 crores. And even the promoters are behind bars. They're, all assets being freezed and sold. SEBI could gather not more than 500 crores out of everything. So the liabilities are over 40,000 crores now, including interest. but the recoveries are not going to happen. So this is, you need to understand that there's no shortcut. You need to go for legitimate regulated asset class whenever you choose. You have to, have objective, in mind, so that your goals are there in your mind, not the timing, because people sometimes do bottom fishing, like let the market come down more, let, there is, a lot of, sometimes people read newspaper, sometimes they watch these news channels, which start, which they give every, hourly basis commentary on the market, what is happening, and they give you buy and put loss, calls, buy and, sell calls. That is not something for you. Okay, you guys are not traders, you are not pro in that market, and you will find same expert giving, buy call one day and sell call after 10 days of same stock, if you, monitor them. So 10 days trading is not your cup of tea, and not the investor's point of view. We call them traders, we call them, market movers. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to fall for those allurement. Look at this, chart. This is something very interesting for people who actually try to chase returns. The golden rule is never chase returns in any asset class. So this particular chart gives you, say, for example, in 2020 and 21, say 2019, you can see the international funds, international markets, they were giving 31.8% return in 2019. Where is that class in 2022? At the bottom, minus 10%. Look at 2021, small cap, mid cap, everyone was running after small cap and mid caps. Okay, where are they in 2022? Bottom. So you need to see, guys, that there is a business cycle. The way there is a business cycle, there is these asset class also go through these cycles. Okay, so until unless you allocate your money, because you will not be able to predict, okay, or anticipate that where this particular asset class is going to end up next year. Okay, suppose today in 2022, gold was 11.3. Today in 23, it is not on top. It has already gone down. So you need to see that no asset class is permanent. They will not give you permanent returns, but they will generate returns in combo. Okay, so this is where we need to come. We need to understand that you need to take advantage of every asset class, but through proper asset allocation, not by just chasing returns. If you keep chasing returns, you'll keep doing, you will keep running like this. This is what we call roller coaster ride. 1 year top, next year bottom. So don't follow this. This is not something for you. This is for the professionals. Even professionals fails to, anticipate at times. This particular slide is very interesting, I guess, because there are a lot of, data here. So I'm not able to, fix it better. So what you need to look at is the bottom, that value of this 10,000 rupees in various asset class. So first column is inflation. Okay. And second is your, one second. Second is your gold. Okay. Then your FDs, PPF, silver. So there are various asset class, and there is LIC also. So people who are really, attractive towards LIC, they need to understand the kind of valuation they have generated in 41 years. And last is your Sensex, which is right now at 60,000 almost. So we have taken 58,000 only. Okay. So value of 10,000, you can see each and every asset class is not gone beyond, 3.88 lakhs. Okay. Whereas for Sensex, it has actually gone up to 33 lakhs. So this doesn't mean that everything of my kitty should go to Sensex. No. That shows you that you need to allocate your money properly so that you take advantage of everything. Because you can see this 33 lakhs ka journey. You can also see minus instances as well, like minus 11%, minus 22%, minus 47%, minus 14%, minus 28%. So minus 38% also. So just imagine something going down by almost 40%. That means 10 lakh value going to 6 lakhs. How does it feel? Of course, this is what we call volatility. This is what we call risk in share market. But at the same time, if you have horizon in your mind, if you have goal in mind, which is 15 years, 20 years later, you will definitely end up taking better returns. This is what this particular chart shows you: 41 years of track record of various asset class, which we consider is legitimate and regulated asset classes. Okay, so keep this thing in mind whenever you been advised by somebody that this is doing well or that is doing well. You need to have this in mind, that what is the inflation, and after inflation adjustment, what is the return they have generated. So you can see that there's only one asset class which has not generated, which has not given you real return. Is which one? I would like to ask the audience here. There is only one asset class which has failed to protect your money against inflation. Which one is that? And we have not considered taxation here, only inflation. Which is that asset class? Which is given you minus 2.18% over a period of 41 years. What is this asset class? Anybody?
Sir, LIC?
Yes. So something which is really popular among people. So you need to understand the kind of returns that particular asset class is generating, that instrument is generating over a period of time. So don't just go by, because people think that they have planned their investment by protecting their life. That is not the right way. Never mix insurance with investment. That is the thumb rule I want you to take today. Okay, so these are some of the risk profiles. Normally I don't follow this. This is something which has been created by some psychometric tests, but I don't follow. I think that every individual has their own way of looking at risk. Okay, we have seen people 35-year-old not taking any risk at all. They want just the debt or mutual funds, or debt in mutual funds and fixed deposits. Whereas we also see people like 80-year-old 100% in equity. So when we ask them that why you are in 100% equity, no, I am investing for my next generation or for my grandsons or granddaughters. So people have different objectives in life. So hence they have different risk appetite as well. So you also need to adjust or evaluate your risk appetite and take the call accordingly. There's something called expectation. So when we expect return, say like I'm a conservative, I just want to stick to the capital protection philosophy in my investment plan. I don't want to take more risk. So in conservative plan, you see that if someone has the goal of achieving 10 lakh rupees, okay, so the goal is to 19,67,151. So suppose the child's education goal somebody's got, but that person is really conservative and he's happy with 6% return, post-tax return, you can say. So he needs to invest close to 12,000. Okay, and his participation into this 19 lakhs is 10 lakhs, almost 50% of the money, more than 50% of money his own. Okay, and similarly, somebody goes up the ladder, say 9%, little moderate, and he takes a little bit of risk. So their participation into this goal is 8,30,000. And somebody takes more risk, his participation into that goal is 6,33,000. So now you look at the risk from this perspective also. See, somebody who's taking lowest risk with 6% return, he's actually contributing more than 50% for that goal. So 50% contribution, that means larger part is your own money. So where is the risk more? Obviously 50% when you are contributing more money. Person who's only contributing 6.33 lakhs for achieving this goal is taking lower risk. This is other way around as well. So we need to understand that if the goal is a distant way, see, if you have 15 years time or 10-year time, can you take that goal? Yes, you can take that goal, and the spare funds can be invested somewhere else. Two people with same income, same levels, if they're taking this, you see that this person is actually, investing 5 lakh more here for the same goal. And this person can spare that 5 lakh to some other goal or some other, stuff. So this is how the investment planning is planned. You need to look at risk from both perspectives. I mean, end result also you need to keep in mind that actually how much you are contributing out of your pocket. Money belongs to you only. So that 5 lakh can be allocated to some other goal, right? It is not gambling, it is allocation, right? So what is rebalancing? Sometimes people say that this is profit booking. No, this is not at all profit booking. So I'll give you, two examples of portfolio without rebalancing. So suppose somebody's got 1 crore portfolio. So out of 1 crore, that person invests say 10 lakhs. This is 10 lakhs. So 6 lakhs into equity, which is Nifty 50. 3 lakhs into say debt fund, which is gilt fund, and 10 lakhs into gold fund. So we call it 60-40 actually, because 40% is into fixed income kind of a thing. So let's call it 60-30-10. So this is the asset allocation he has started with. December 5. So now December 6, 2006, market goes up. His 6 lakh value goes to 8.51. And similarly, 3 lakh becomes 3,13,000, so on and so on. But he has kept it like that only. 2007, it becomes 13,35, and so on. So in December 9, his valuation goes to 17,17,000. He started this allocation with 10 lakh divided into 6 lakhs into equity, 30 lakhs into debt, 1 lakh into gold. Okay. And that money becomes 17,17,000 without any rebalancing. He has not touched that particular asset allocation once he did in the beginning. Second example, if you look at same calculation, 60-30-10. So December 6, the moment this particular 60 became 66%, and 30% became 25%, 10% became 9% because of the valuation of equity has gone up. So he has done the rebalancing. He has actually brought it down to 60%, 30%, 10%. So he has actually booked or taken out money from equity, brought it down to 60% of total value of, this is 12,84,000. So he has actually, brought it down to 60-30-10 once again. Okay. 2007, once again, the equation changes 68-23-9. So he actually goes ahead and changes it again 60-30 and 10. So by the end of 2009, his valuation is 19,77,000. 19,77,000. The difference is almost 2 lakh rupees, just because he's doing rebalancing and keeping, true to its asset allocation, which is 60-30-10, because that asset allocation keeps changing with the valuation. So this is why rebalancing is important, but rebalancing is not advised to do yourself. You need to have some experience and to do it or assist you with So we recommend some good mutual fund distributor or registered investment advisor to do that job for you, because if you keep doing yourself, you may end up doing something wrong, because you need to also consider the tax liabilities as well. But the rebalancing is very important. You need to have either threshold or timeline included into that. Little bit of retirement planning. You need to start retirement planning with, you need to calculate the corpus you require. Say, suppose somebody is 35, 60 years, you need to actually, start calculating what is the corpus you need to have in your kitty by the time you retire. And you need to start your SIP or step up SIP today. Higher the allocation to equity till 45 years age, balance portfolio from 45 to 55. So it is basically, till the time you're young, you can take higher exposure to equities and reduce it going forward by the time you age. So little bit of examples here. See, suppose somebody wants to have 1 crore at the age of 55. And we expect 12% of return, because we've just shown you that market has actually given it 15% kind of a return in 41 years. And Sensex, I have shown you that has actually given you 15% return. But to be on moderate side, we have taken it as 12%. So at the age of 45, you need to invest, almost 5,69,000 every year to get to 1 crore. At the age of 55, if you start investing, say your goal is that by the time you are 55, you should have 1 crore in your bank account or in your investment account. This is how you need to start as early as possible. If you start at age of 25, you need to invest 41,436 every year. If you are at 35, and you need to keep on investing. So if you invest, it's say for 30 years, your investment horizon is this only. See, somebody who starts at 25, after 30, this amount will be nothing for you. Okay, it will not going to impact your household or your expense planning if this particular amount is going for the investment. Similarly, by 35, you will not even consider it as something significant in your life. Okay, but by the time you are 55, it gives you 1 crore, which is still significant. By the time you are 45 and you plan this 5 lakh, almost 5,70,000, that is going to make your life a little tighter. I mean, you have to actually sacrifice a little bit of expenses to actually plan for this goal. That is why we always suggest plan early. When you add time with investment, that creates magic. So younger people, please understand that time is on your side. If you start planning or investing today, do it now, because you have hundreds of reasons to delay. Find one reason to start investing. Okay. Similarly, there are other, asset classes like, we need to understand the risk associated with it. Somebody 35 years of age, if you, some asset class with return expectation 12%, your investment becomes 1,38,000. But if you have some asset class, if you have that, appetite, it can be lowered also. And if you are, conservative, that you don't want to take risks, so your investment amount increases with goal of 1 crore. So you need to understand what is your goal, what is the amount you want to actually accumulate over a period of time. Okay. So now come to the taxation part from mutual fund. So there are equity and debt class. So anything in equity which is less than 12 months is called short term. Okay. If you are investing, say 1 lakh rupees today, and within 1 year of this investment, you withdraw, and say you earned 10,000 rupees, your maturity amount is 1,10,000. So on that 10,000, you need to pay 15% of tax, which is your short-term capital gain tax. Okay, in equity mutual fund. Anything beyond 1 year is long-term in equity. So up to 1 lakh of capital gain, there is nil tax. There is no tax. But anything above 1 lakh, say suppose you invest 1 lakh today, after say 3 years, your money becomes say 2.5 lakhs. Okay. So if you withdraw that money, so up to 2 lakh, there is no tax, because up to 1 lakh of gain, there is no tax. 50,000, you have to pay 10%. This is not 15, this is 10%, sorry. So I was just typing, maybe typing error. So this is 10%. So 50,000, you will pay 10%. That is long-term capital gain tax on equity mutual fund. Okay. And in debt side, suppose there is a debt fund you have bought. For debt fund, anything less than 3 years is short term. So suppose you buy something today, say 1 lakh debt fund, and 2 years time you want to withdraw and your money becomes a 1,20,000. So 20,000 becomes part of your income of that financial year. So you will be taxed basis your income slab. Okay. For long term, anything beyond 3 years in debt fund is called long term. So same example, your 1 lakh becomes say 1,20,000 after 3 years, you withdraw it. So that 20,000 gets added to your income slab, but with indexation benefit. What is this indexation benefit? I'll give you example here. Suppose there is a fixed deposit and there is a debt fund. So somebody invested in 1 lakh rupees in fixed deposit, somebody invested 1 lakh in a debt fund. And we are assuming both are generating 8% per annum return. So with 8% per annum return, value after 3 years would be 1,25,971. Okay. Both funds will generate 1,25,971. So 25,971 is the capital gains. Okay. For fixed deposit, if someone is in the 30% tax bracket, okay, so the taxable gain would be 25,971. The tax amount would be 8,048 and post-tax return would be 5.65. Although you have earned 8% return, but you have ended up getting 5.65 post-tax return if someone is 30% bracket. If it is someone is say 20% tax bracket, so you can calculate 25,000 ka 20%, that would be your tax liability. What happens in case of debt funds, say for those 3 years, the indexation valuation of that particular 1 lakh becomes 1,20,000. So this becomes, say, if the inflation is 6.12 or 6.10 for those 3 years, your indexed value of 1 lakh becomes 1,20,000. Okay. So your capital gain would be 1,25,000 and 1,25,971 ka difference, which is 595,971. The system will calculate your capital gains not as 25,971 in case of fixed deposit in banks, but as 5,971 in case of debt mutual funds. So you will be charged 20% flat, irrespective of your income slab, whether you belong to 30, 20, 10. It doesn't matter. It will be charged 20% flat after adjusting your principal with indexed value. Okay. So even if you earn same as fixed deposit, your tax liability is far, far lower than tax in fixed deposit, and you earn more than 2% in debt funds. This is in case where we have assumed that it will generate same as a fixed deposit, where we have seen historically debt mutual fund have generated more than fixed deposits. Okay, but we never say that because it is always basis what is the category, what is the kind of debt scheme you have chosen. But even if it gives same returns, your tax liability becomes very handsome when it comes to indexation. So if you belong to 30%, there is no option but to save tax from debt mutual fund. Even if you belong to 20% tax bracket, indexed value is still lower because 20% on entire capital gain, 20% on only capital gains after indexation is still a better equation. So many, HNIs opt for this. Many, people who are 20%, 30%, they opt for this because debt funds gives you most tax efficient returns. And people who are actually, not actually taken first the old tax regime, ELSS mutual fund also gives you best of the option because they are the lowest lock-in period of 3 years, unlike other instruments. Okay. So what you need to do, you need to create emergency fund of at least up to 1 year. You need to have adequate life and health insurance. You need to do asset allocation, because do not chase return and just put your money into one asset class. You need to allocate in cross asset classes, one SIP for each goal. Every goal should be attached to timeline, as we defined SMART definition, and put an SIP amount put to that particular goal. Don't touch that SIP until you achieve your goal. Preferably step up SIP, because we have seen the kind of valuation it gives you over a period of time. Build a portfolio with mutual fund for all important goals. Any excess money you can diversify into stocks, PMS. That depends on your risk. Don't stop your SIP as market falls, because that is the biggest mistake people do. When market falls, they stop their SIP investments, because that is the time to accumulate units. Okay, you are actually accumulating more units. When market comes back, your valuation goes up. You will not even believe your eyes that this is the kind of investment you have made. But if you start stopping your SIP during down markets and then restarting it when markets starting going up, you will end up generating moderate returns. And of course, you need to rebalance your portfolio with the help of your financial advisors. Now come to grievance management in mutual fund. Okay, so there are two types of grievances which we have noticed from the mutual fund side. So step one is, what is the type of complaint you have? There can be two types. One is financial, another one is non-financial. Financial is that there is a problem with redemption, there is a problem with purchase or switch, or the NAV allocation is not proper. You have investment one day, but there is a delay from the mutual fund side. Dividends not received by the investor. And transmission is that in case of death, the proceeds are not being transferred on time, or it is still pending. So these are all financial transactions or financial complaints where money is involved. Okay. And there are non-financial complaints which could be not updating your bank mandate, nomination, address change, email IDs, phone numbers, change of distributors. These are non-financial complaints. So you need to actually understand first what is the kind of complaint you have. And the step two is always go for concerned mutual fund. So whenever you have to complain, your first step is to reach out to that concerned mutual fund office first. And the best part is, if you have a distributor, you should raise the complaint to distributor, because 90% of complaints can be solved by the distributors, because they understand the AMC better, they understand people better, they understand the process better. Instead of going yourself, if you have a distributor, if you invest through a distributor in mutual funds, always raise your complaints through a distributor. In case distributor is not able to help you or help solve your problem, you can write a complaint to a AMC branch. You can visit any nearest AMC branch of your city. In case you you don't have time, or you can't reach out to AMC offices, there is, every AMC has their call centers, toll-free number. I have mentioned Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Funds toll-free number. So if you have any complaint regarding either it is financial or non-financial, you can call the call center and ask the agent to lodge your complaint and get a complaint reference number. See, whenever you put a complaint to any mutual fund, don't forget to get a CRN number. We call it complaint reference number. Okay. All future correspondence will happen on the basis of this CRN number. Okay. You need to give adequate time to that mutual fund to actually, provide you a solution. So normally, what we have seen, except for transmission, because in death cases, there are a lot of documentation required. So it takes a little longer time. Otherwise, most of the, other, whether financial or non-financial, they resolve it within 72 to say, 1 working or 7 working days. Most of the times they do it, they solve it. Okay. Some of the problems, they might go because there are sometimes signature mismatches. There are sometimes the the data the not available, or the folios were very old and now they don't have the required documents. So they sometimes demand you that you need to get the documents authenticated by some government channel or some court or something like that. But that is not very regular. That is very rare. Otherwise, all mutual funds are competent enough to resolve your queries. But after giving enough time to a particular mutual fund and a distributor, you still not happy with the resolution, or there is no resolution at all, you have SEBI as your savior. So they call it scores. That particular system is called scores. That is SEBI complaints redress system. So I have also given you the email address or website address of scores.gov.in. You can easily find that through Google. And there is a step 1 which asks you to register yourself. So you need to do the registration with your name, email ID, residential address, PAN details, mobile numbers, everything. So they demand everything from you. So you need to fill in that detail, register yourself. And then step 2 would be submitting your complaint. So obviously SEBI requires you to give the records that you have reached out to the concerned mutual fund for your issue, and you are not satisfied, or they have failed to respond to you or give you resolution. So you can write a complaint up to 1,000 words. All scanned documents, that size has to be up to 2 MB. And you can you need to select the right entity like mutual fund, which company, and enter details. So they have actually created a detailed form where you need to select what is the problem, like dividend hai, or there is a NAV allocation is not appropriate. You have they have not allocated the funds to particular scheme, because of which you have lost a lot of valuation, because after that the market has actually gone up, because we've seen a lot of cases like that. So you can submit that complaint to scores. So normally scores gives 30 days time to most of the entities, because before they actually call both the parties at their head offices or zonal offices. I have seen majority of cases have been resolved at the first level escalation at the scores level, but they will not take action unless you have followed the first process, which I have mentioned, that you need to first reach out to the entity itself. If they fail to respond to you, then only you should reach out to scores, that is scores.gov.in. So majority of time, within 30 days, SEBI resolves the cases. Okay. In fact, for insurance, you need to go to IRDA, that is their regulator. For pensions, you need to go to PFRDA, that is pensions regulator. So you need to find whichever entity you are dealing with. You need to find which is that entity's regulator. So if it is a bank, so you need to go to RBI, because there is ombudsman and then there is RBI. So majority of time for banking, you need to go to that nodal officer's email ID and raise that request or complaint. And if they fail to do that, you need to proceed to the next level of complaints. But most of the time, every regulator has this mechanism of grievance management. For SEBI, since this manages, this is regulator of mutual fund industry, they resolve the queries related to mutual funds. So this is what all about today's presentation. Now I'm open to the questions.
So there are 2 questions already written in the chat. First, you have already answered. It is about taxability of income from mutual fund, which you have already taken in detail. The second question, which has been asked by Himanshu sir, it is about application. He says, which are those apps which redeem and provide cash within 10 seconds? I think you have talked about 10. Yes, sir. So Himanshu sir has asked about it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the majority of mutual fund through their websites, because SEBI mandates that if you invest in a liquid fund, so up to 50,000 of cash you can withdraw within 10 seconds. And some mutual funds like ours, we have created an app called Active Account app. Through Active Account, you can invest in two schemes. One is liquid funds, another one is low duration fund. From these two schemes, you can withdraw, say, suppose today is Friday, so markets are closed. So Saturday, Sunday, the market will not be functioning, but you need some cash for your emergency. So up to 50,000 within 10 seconds, every day you can withdraw. So every day's limit is 50,000. So you just need to, open your app, just put in the amount, say redeem. It will ask you whether you want instant or regular withdrawal. So for regular withdrawal, the money would be, credited. Say, suppose you have a requirement of say 1 lakh rupees. So today, if you withdraw, say by 2 o'clock, next day morning, you will have funds in your account if it is a working day. So suppose Friday evening, if you withdraw, you will get funds in your account on Monday, if it is more than 50,000. If it is up to 50,000, within 10 seconds, you will get amount in your bank account. Yeah, app name is Active Account app. You can find in App Store or in a website as well.
I think Himanshu sir has given your, okay, sir, we have received, thank you from Himanshu sir. Okay, so I think all the queries have, if there is any other query you can ask.
You can directly ask me.
I think it was already in the chat, sir. So we can just now formally wind up the session. So thank you, sir, for bringing your knowledge and experience around this online 5-day short-run program, which is on financial literacy. Engaging such an informative session, especially toward mutual fund, its taxation, filing complaints, and grievances handling. Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, privilege was all mine, and I wish you all the best. Please don't fall for allurement, or there is no short-term or shortcut to wealth creation. Yes, ma'am. You.
Can I ask something?
Yes, definitely.
Your voice is breaking.
How can we invest in international market through mutual funds?
Yeah, so every mutual fund have international funds also. So see, now the regulators also allow you to invest up to $250,000 per annum. Okay, so you have that kind of a large limit to invest in foreign markets, especially US and European markets. Many mutual funds have international fund scheme which invest in these international equities. Okay, so you just need to, and there are funds like multi-asset funds or a balanced advantage fund, which invest 25 to 30% of their total portion into international equity. So in those kind of funds, you have blends of both Indian domestic market equities and international equities as well as. But if you don't want that way, you just want one international fund only, you just need to select that international fund and purchase it. There are international equity ETF funds also, like Motilal Oswal Nasdaq fund, and there are other mutual fund also which only invest in Nasdaq or other Sensex of US. So you can select those as well. You can just start looking for that, what are the best international mutual funds in the country, so you can invest through that.
Sir, when we get the capital gains on that, will it be taxable on Indian rates, or is there any difference?
Anything which is invested through Indian mutual fund, that will be taxable as per equity. They will be treated as equity indexation, equity taxation.
Okay, sir.
If you go directly through other apps like there's InMoney, there is ICICI Direct. So if you open your account in those traders and then transfer your funds, convert that money, and then invest, you have that window also available with you up to $250,000. You can invest directly in US stocks. There you need to pay taxes in US. There is no double taxation. So here it will be tax free. Okay. But since
Oh.
through mutual fund, when you are investing in mutual fund, you're not paying any tax in US on your capital gains. So you will be taxable. You will taxed in India.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your insight over this topic.
Thank you all. Happy investing. Stay safe. All the best. Thank you, ma'am.
Announcement to other participants. Our next speaker is just joining soon. Sunana ma'am, you are here in this room. Sunana ma'am is just joining. She has already joined. I think there is some problem with her network. Till then, we can take a break of 2 minutes only. We will be back at 4:03 or 4:04. I request you all to come back and we will start soon. Sunana ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, Pratibha, you are audible. But the volume is very less. Just a sec.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Pratibha.
Okay, ma'am. So we are starting now. So welcome back, everyone. After the short break, we are just starting with our session 8. Today we have Professor Sunana Kunoja ma'am for next session. This session is based on financial journals, balancing need for time value for money, power of compounding, and many more. So before ma'am start the session, I'm just going to give a brief introduction about Professor Kanoja. Professor Kanoja is professor in Department of Commerce, University of Delhi. She is having more than 16 years of experience in teaching. Her interest areas is in the domain of corporate governance and stock return. During last 5 years, she has co-authored papers on dividend decision and payout policies, empirical analysis of listed companies, corporate governance in India, and electronic governance and professional perspectives. She has also won Best Paper Awards in National Conference in 2014, International Conferences in 2015 of University of South Florida, USA, and Christ University and Liverpool University in 2017. 6 research paper of her has been at the top of SSRN's downloadable list, top downloadable list, and in SCI Scopus Index ABDC listed journals. She has been to various universities such as University of Mauritius, Faculty of Law and Management to deliver a series of lectures and has presented various researchers in USA in 2015, Germany in 2016, Italy in 2017, Russia in 18, and Norway in 2019. We welcome you, ma'am. And now I'd like to just call you to take over for this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thanks, Pratibha. Thanks for your kind words. And you can see there are around 50 odd participants, some of the members from Department of Commerce who are managing. So I know that this is the last session and I'm the only one between you and the certificate. I suppose this is the last session of the entire workshop.
Ma'am, this is second last day. Tomorrow is the last day. We have
day.
2 more sessions. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So your certificate is still not lying between me and this 1.5 hours. So as I have come to know and I heard a little bit from the last speaker that they have covered slightly about compounding. So we'll take up from there that presuming that you have understood the paradigm of compounding and how relevant it becomes in case of financial literacy. A few days back, I actually shared a video which was a campaign actually conducted by ENY, and the campaign was talking about financial literacy among women. However, there was an entire group of men and women who were there together, and they were taking one step forward when they did something which was pronounced on their own. And they used to take one step backward if they haven't done that. So suppose the announcer said that you have played football, so somebody stepped ahead and a couple of them stepped at the back. So this back and forth continued in by and large similar way, especially in the initial set of questions. But as the gravity of questions or statements tilted towards financial experiences, towards financial execution, or primarily taking independent financial decisions, the females were largely taking steps which were backward and males were taking forward. However, it was not like that all the male were having forward steps, because they were also not knowing many things and they haven't done that on their own. These were not the males and females whom we see as a rickshaw puller or a vendor or someone other who's not so very educated. They were all from educated background. They were all having background which was well versed, considered as well educated. They were also working professionals. It's not that they were only people who were homemakers. There were businessmen also, businesswomen as well. However, the notion of financial literacy has been clearly depicted from that, I think 2 or 3 minute video. So whosoever is there on LinkedIn can go and check it out. It's there on my wall. So the essence of this particular workshop, financial literacy, is not just to bring teachers on a plane where they understand what to teach and know the paradigm of financial literacy and education. It's rather an effort from Department of Commerce since last almost 9 years, since when we started paper of personal finance in MCOM, that we wanted our teachers to be well equipped with personal finance. And if you educate one teacher, you educate lakhs of students. This is normally said. So the perspective is same. And this year with the new education policy, national education policy, NEP, we have got personal finance papers in undergrad as well. So the small workshop is just an initiation so that we just open up and find out some more lively and non-monotonous ways to bring financial literacy in the domain of day-to-day regular life skill for every student, rather than as a specialized skill set for some people who are working or having their bread and butter attached with either stocks or banks or NBFCs or AMCs. So it's beyond that. It is something which me, you, and every other single person who intends to earn or even have any cash inflow needs to know and understand, so that the objective is to take your own financial decisions independently, right? So when we say independently, you need not go to someone else when you need to buy an insurance product. You need not go to someone else asking that, just tell me some instrument where I can invest. You need not go to someone else for asking that, do you have any place where do you keep your money so that it grows, or I don't know what to do with my salary. So these kind of questions should not be asked as a casual chit chat. It should rather be a thought-provoking session that you and your friend have discovered a particular investment alternative, and you are trying to find out what are the pros and cons of investing in it, or whether this instrument make any sense or not. So moving ahead with the agenda Dr. Pratibha has given to me, I have a few slides to share. I think that will be more structured, because from where I'd have to share. Okay. So to keep our conversation and communication more structured, I'll just take you to this small PPT. Don't expect many slides from me. I'm very lethargic in making slides. I try to keep it as minimum as possible. And I've heard that people like it. People don't like when they see 90 slides to be shown in 90 minutes, right? So this is our short-term program, and this is our agenda, the concept of financial journal, balancing need, money, time, power of compounding. So starting with concept of financial journals, you might have seen at your home this thing. You may not be following on your own. Maybe some of you who have been very particular about their finances, that they jot down their inflows and outflows on weekly basis, monthly basis, and then quarterly and finally yearly basis. They get to have some trend analysis that where is my money going. It's basically keeping yourself aware that what you are doing with what you are earning. So right from the beginning, I was quite enticed with this thing that people, who are having the capability of earning that money should also have the capability of spending it, investing it, and taking judicious decision with that money. Because anyone who is getting a cash inflow is primarily based on the capabilities or the work which they have delivered, right? So in case they have earned something, they should be able to utilize it, spend it, invest it, whatever they want to do. The call should be independent. So the entire purpose of education is liberating yourself from any kind of dependence. And that's precisely what excites us at department to continue with financial literacy and making this journey more happening. And the concept of financial journal is primarily hailing from that old school thought of, jotting down all your expenses and earnings. So you might have seen people jotting down their jotting down their expenses, but rarely they jot down their earnings. So that's a partial journal. I would not suggest that. And the literature says that they should actually write both the things, right? We send attendance. Okay. I thought there is some message for me as a question. So if you have any question, just unmute yourself and go on. So this is the financial journal this is a basic structure of financial journal, how it can look for. It can be customized, but the main outcome of a financial journal is the net worth which you are seeing at the end. So this is Chase. Mr. Chase is having kids. Mr. Chase is having a spouse, and Mr. Chase has created something for themselves. They have been keeping the records of their liabilities as well as their assets. So they have some savings. They have monthly checks in, what is getting credited to their account, and something which they have saved for the betterment. That means long-term savings. So they have somewhere around $17,000 as clear amount. But at the same time, these $17,000 should not be seen as the whole amount available for investments. If you consider this amount as investment, the $17,000 or whatever, if you convert it into INR, I just took it from a web source, which was showing it for personal finance in International University. So when you take an inflow as it is, as an investable surplus, it creates a huge confusion, and for sure you're not going to make up for all your investment goals, because many of the goals will be taken up by this right hand side lifestyle debits, and these lifestyle debits create a debt if you have not allocated for it. So judicious financial journaling, or creating a journal which is judicious one, recommends that you have incorporated each and every such expenditure which can arise in a short, medium, and long-term span. And when we say short, medium, long-term span, we are thinking about a 1 year span. So if you're making a journal for 1 month, then any imminent expense which is happening month-on-month basis, or specifically which may happen in a certain months. So suppose I say, when I take my MCOM class, so for boys, I say that suppose it's Raksha Bandhan, it's in India. So boys would have a separate chunk of amount for their sisters to be gifted. And if they don't keep it, it will imbalance their investable surplus. So the investment alternative, which is tied to that surplus, will be lost. So there would be a gap between the target investment, estimated target investment, and actual investment. And when there is a gap, obviously this gap would be a negative one, and hence the negative would be the return as well. So when there is a gap which is negative, when there is a gap which is negative in return, there would always be a gap between the goals, the financial goals which are attached with investment, and they would be scattered. The main purpose of doing financial planning, or having personal finance, or creating a financial journal for that matter, or understanding compounding or investing as the entire set of story, is precisely very simple: to remove scarcity of money. If we are doing this and we are having scarcity of money, there is no point of doing this entire exercise. So whosoever is sitting here and has considered that they have done, or they have managed finance in a fabulous manner, but they have scarcity of money, trust me, it's of no use. So if back of your mind, even on a single day it comes that whether I should buy this or not because I don't have sufficient money for this, there is no financial planning in that case. So the purpose of financial planning or creating a financial journal is getting freedom from scarcity of money. So whatever I wish, I can buy. Whenever I wish, I can buy. But this wish has to be rationalized. That is our second churn. That is the second segment what I have been told to cover. That how will I ascertain that this is a wish or a need, right? Does it have any relevance when it comes to wishful buying, or is it just like I'm becoming spendthrift? So before moving to that side, just have a deeper look into this. You can also find similar kind of journals online. You can also find different applications, which are like wallet, or the one which I use is monthly total. Like you just keep an entry, you create different categories for your spouse, for kids, for grocery, for this, that. Each category has certain amount which is spent, and you finally will get an estimated budget for your next year. So once you do this exercise, if you have some base work, you will be able to get estimations from your past or the last financial years. But this will be made based on your spending only. There is nothing which is called ideal or optimal structure. But yes, final outcome should be a positive net worth. That means your finances are not shady. So the important aspect is that whenever you ascertain any inflow, you need or you must take care of the corresponding liability, if there has been any, for creating that inflow. So like here, if there has been certain inflows like Chase Saving, Betterment Incomes and others, cash checking, etc. So there are lifestyle debits or debts like credit card, Discover card, departmental store services, an iPhone which is to be bought for $500 and so on. And then moving to the next, there are down the road means there are long-term investment plans which are set in, like 401k is the PPF of is the NPS of US. So this financial journal is from a US example. So 401k is US Videshi NPS, right? 403 is another version of it. So like NPS has different tiers here in India, 401, 403, 401k, 403b, they are different tiers of pension systems. So there is no pension system. There is 401 plan, which is based on stock market, and the employer and employee both contribute like we do in case of NPS, and the amounts gets compounded through the market rather than an exchequer paying for a lump sum amount. Like you might have seen in the budget also that the rupee is financed largely from debt, like 34% of the rupee expenditures are financed from debt, and 24% around of government exchequer's income goes into interest and payments. So that include your these kind of stuffs. So the point is that whenever you have an inflow, you also accommodate and reflect the liability. So if you are saving on rental income, suppose, and you have been paying an EMI, so you have to place your home loan as well in the financial journal so that the entire amount of asset can be reduced with the outstanding loan which is there in your balance sheet. So different books will also say that this is a balance sheet, this is a personal balance sheet. So when we make a financial journal, we try to make it an income inclusive financial journal where you have assets, inflows, where you have liabilities, and which are current and long-term both at the same point of time. So these are their car loans, and they are if they are writing that they have an asset as cars, they also mention that they have pending auto loans, and finally they have total asset worth $496, but they also have a liability of $386. So if you find out this, you will get your net worth. If a net worth is negative, it's a major concern for you. That means you need to trim down on your loans. And for trimming down on your loans, you need to channelize the low income generating or low CAGR generating. CAGR is CAGR, the compounded annual growth rate of return. So low CAGR generating instruments should be removed, and the amount parked there should be used rather for servicing the debt. These are the debts. So suppose you are paying 9%, 9.5% or 8.5% for servicing these debts, which are auto loan or car loan, or maybe more. But at the same point of time, you are holding certain instruments which are creating you a CAGR of say 5%, 6%, like a fixed deposit receipts, or even a mutual fund, or maybe an close to due life insurance ULIP policy, right, which has some lump sum amount, because the CAGR of life insurance or ULIP is never more than 5%. Same is the case of FDR. Same is the case of any other this deposit which you have kept, other than Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana or PPF. So if your CAGR which you are generating is significantly less than the CAGR or the interest amount you are paying, you need to switch. You need to pay off these loans and bring your net worth back into positive. Only then you will be having some cash flow with yourself so that you can take it for an investment alternative, and that would be a good investable surplus. And this entire exercise of making a financial journal is done so that you ascertain an amount of investable surplus which is free of any charge, which is not going to be wiped off if there comes an uncertainty. So suppose you have opted for like the previous speaker was from Aditya Birla Mutual Fund, I believe. So he was talking about mutual fund and must have told you about SIP. So suppose you have an SIP of say 10,000 rupees and suddenly you fell ill, and there was a short 1-day hospitalization, and you were under observation, and there were certain tests and other things which happened, but they created a good amount of bill for you. And the bill for 1-day hospitalization into a private hospital will actually take you from anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 or maybe even more. So if you are good enough, if you are normal, then it is 10 to 50. If you are visiting an ICU with a more severity of disease, it could go for 1 day more than 1 lakh rupees. So if something like this happens, your investable surplus will be wiped out within a moment, because you will not think of, keeping it for an SIP, keeping your cash balance at bank or a bank balance for giving an SIP rather than you getting treatment. So if there is any emergency which is happening, the first scapegoat would be your investable surplus. So you need to create a financial journal in such a way that all these expenditures are taken care of in your financial journal. So you should know how to fund your emergency. Like suppose you are out of job like in COVID. So you should be having at least 6 months earning, an amount equivalent to your 6 months average earning with you in a recurring deposit, in a fixed deposit, which is having no lock-in, right? So an emergency fund is there so that you can search your another job in a span of 6 months. So 6 months is considered to be a reasonable time to have an emergency fund. Similarly, you should have an health insurance so that any such kind of medical uncertainty do not stop you from going on with your investable surplus for investing. Then you should also think of having your life covered if you are generating financial earnings. So suppose there is a homemaker and they're not earning anything financially. Definitely they are homemaker. They are important for our entire society and culture, but they are not bringing in any cash. So if they are not bringing in any cash, getting a life insurance policy for such people who are not generating cash is a futile exercise. And actually it could have been a better investment option rather than getting an insurance for them, right? So, so similar kind of things should be avoided, and the entire picture of your inflows and outflows should be depicted correctly in your financial journal. Now, as I say that that personal finance or financial planning gives you the freedom from scarcity of money. Whatever I want, I can buy, right? How will I differentiate that whether whatever I want to buy is actually needed or am I becoming spendthrift? So this This formula is actually by Warren Buffett. So if you read his book, Buffettology, you will find out that this is what Buffett and Charlie Munger, the CEO and managing director, chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, use as their benchmark of need and want. So whenever they have anything, any item, service, expense in their mind where they want to spend some cash, so there is two questions. This is simply ask. They ask, oh, just a minute. Seems I had forgotten. Okay, yeah. I wanted to move this ribbon. Yeah. So suppose they want to have some expenditures, service or expense. So what do? Is they simply postpone it for 3 to 4 weeks and cautiously observe that is there any disruption in their daily routine, their efficiency, the way they work, the kind of inputs they get, the quality of their decision making. Is there any disruption without spending this amount, without utilizing, say, X service, without making an expenditure for anything as an item or as a service? So suppose they say that that they were going in a metro. They used to travel in metro, but they are thinking of buying a car. So after buying a car, they will be able to reach their place of work in a slightly lesser time, first thing. So they will be saving on the time. So cumulative number of hours which they have saved on day basis is larger as compared to their existing method. Second is there is a cash outflow which is significant, but the difference of cash outflow which is significant, does this cash outflow create any synergy by going in the car except the level of comfort and the ease? So yes, if they can figure it out, it would be another yes for it. So if you find more number of yes, which are more constructive, which are more contributing for your betterment as an individual, for your growth, for your holistic growth, I would say, not growth that पहले वो metro में जाता था, वो गाड़ी में जाता है, देखो क्या तरक्की करी है. Not that growth, but the growth is basically that they're getting time for themselves. They are less tired. So the number of hours which are remaining in the day are more productive, even by traveling for 1 hour in the car rather than in the metro. When they reach home, it becomes more easy for them to do some productive work, which is definitely going to enhance their capabilities as well as their personal growth. So then, of course, buy and spend. And if it says no, like if you already have a car and if you want to buy another bigger car, say, but the amount of expenditure is huge. So whether to spend it on that bigger car, if you are not getting any of the yes, that it's not actually disrupting your daily routine, it's not giving you any kind of freedom from disruption of efficiency, it's not giving you any growth opportunity, it's not giving you any content as such with which your mental abilities and the ability to take decision will improve, like spending on a course, right? So suppose you have seen a course on online platform and you think that this 6 months course, if I invest 40,000-50,000 rupees in it, is going to change the way I learn things, the way I do things, and the way I'm doing my research or the way I'm teaching. So maybe by doing this course, it will be much more easier for me to integrate and assimilate my thinking and give my lectures or any other work which I'm doing for that matter. One person may be a portfolio manager, another may be working in some KPO or BPO or wherever. So if any expenditure like an educational course is going to enhance your growth opportunities, is going to enhance your abilities, which is actually creation of an asset. because once an ability is gained, it is going to help you for the lifelong. So therefore, if any of these reasons are missing, it is simply a want, avoid the want. And if these answers are yes, go ahead, buy or spend, because this is going to change your life for a better perspective, with a better perspective. So this is how need and want is differentiated. Now coming to compounding, the third leg of our talk, which is here today. So compounding is, Albert Einstein said that compounding was the eighth wonder, right? So in the eighth wonder, is there anyone who can quickly tell me that if they have seen the compounding through different SIP calculators? Pratibha, did he show any kind of calculators which we can use to get the quick response, or just a pictorial view was
Ma'am,
there?
actually, about the calculator, yes, sir has just given a picture, a brief picture, tables and all, but not a calculator online or anything
Fine,
like that.
fine. So we'll just move and we'll find a calculator where we can do these kind of calculations, right? This is CAGR calculator, and see, this is the first one. I hope my screen is visible. You just need
Yes,
to
ma'am.
write sipcalculator.in in the address bar, and you will get these SIP calculator. I have saved it in my, this, what do we call it? Toolbar. No, what do we call it? Bookmark row. So as and when I use it very frequently to find out that if I'm picking up a particular expenditure, what would be the outcome of it if I don't do it, right? If I'm not getting too many yes, right? What will be the outcome if I invest it? So simple. So I always say to my students that please do it at least thrice a day, so that it becomes a part of your life, and you will be very easily making a distinctive decision that yes, whether I need to go ahead with it or not. Because yes and no you will find, but the the final hammer will come from the concrete answer. So what will happen if I just save say 2,000 rupees per month and invest it for a period of say 10 years, and my expected return are say 16%, which is Nifty's return. So I'm going to create a simple amount of roughly 5.9 lakh from 2,000 rupees in 10-year period. And if I go on with this in a 20-year period, it will become 35 lakh. So suppose if I have a child or they are going to go to college or something like that. So this long-term numbers, these long-term holdings reflect us the power of compounding. So actually, if you look at, even if you look at till 15 years, I don't think there is any much difference. The numbers are though astounding. 2,000 rupees creating 15 lakh is just something which is amazing. So how many of you are having this 15 lakh with you today, which is easy to spend for whatever you want? Maybe a wish of yours, right? And you are also having 2,000 rupees per month available with you in the last 10-15 years. So if you think from this perspective, then you will be able to find out that there is a huge capacity or probability lying in creating stupendous wealth from small amount of investment invested at a reasonably good rate of return. This rate of return is the key then. This 15-16% is the key. So if we say, I'm presuming that largely people are assistant professors, and if I'm correct, then from this is 2023, and 2005 or 6 or 2007, the salaries of assistant professor used to be 23,000 rupees. So even if you have saved 10% of it, so that is 2,500 for a period of say 2006 se leke 2023, 16 and 17 years. So 17 years and invested in Nifty, the Nifty's return has been more than 16% during this year. Sorry. So those who are in those who are in this profession should be having a clear cut 26.4 lakh rupees separate from whatever they are having right now. Right? So if this is the case, it's great. But if it is not, then you need to rethink about your financial journal. You need to dig down that where this amount has not been generated. And if I go a little more into your last salaries, like especially teachers have been investing roughly 1 lakh rupees for their income tax saving, which was later on increased to 1,50,000. So 1 lakh rupees per annum means 8,333. So 8,333, if invested at the same rate, made in 17 years, 88 lakhs. So if you are having this, good. If you're having more than this, great. You have been maintaining financial journal or not, you are having financial freedom. If you are not having this as a distinct amount, right? Please don't consider this amount as the house property value of your house property, because there you are staying. If you sell that house property, you will have to incur a similar amount of cash outflow, either for an EMI or for a rent. So if it is a house property in which you reside, that's a self-consumption expenditure. It is not an investment. An investment will only be there when an asset is generating a return. Okay, so suppose I have 2 cars. If I sell one, I still have another one, and it will not disrupt my day-to-day. So then the second car may be called as an asset that maybe in time I can sell it, but that is a depreciating asset. Okay, so assets have different definitions. So if you have read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad and Poor Dad, you will find out that actually car is not an asset. He says it's an expenditure, because asset need to appreciate, right? So cars or things like phone, these are depreciating items. These are not at all asset, rather liability, because for car you need fuel, for car you need insurance, for car you need to have maintenance expenditure, and so on and so forth. Similarly, on your phone, you need to have some subscriptions, you need to have some expenditure day on day out. So that's not a asset. So if this is the case, you have generated for your 18 years of service, you have 1 crore rupees, great. If you don't, then you need to look into your financial journals more quickly as we can think of. So you just need to find out this. So suppose today's salary is roughly 1 lakh rupees to every individual. So even today, if you start investing 10% of your salary for a period of next 17 years at 15-16%, so it is definitely going to create 1 crore rupees in the next 17 years, right? And if you accentuate it, add it up with further, that means as and when your salary grows, you increase it 5%, 3%, at least 3% or 4% increase is always there. 3% is your increment, and then you get on an average an increase of 3% yearly from DA, right, post tax. So this 6%, if you increase correspondingly proportionately in your earnings, that is called step up calculator. It creates a huge amount of benefit. So now comes that, see, the small amount, 10,000 is a smaller amount. You can even go on with 5,000 rupees. But the best part is that if you have saved this 5,000 rupees, there has been a concern with many people that what will happen when we will retire. So after 30 years, you can have 4.5 crores with barely 5,000 rupees. And that is why the miracle of compounding is considered as the eighth wonder, that a very small amount of investment at a consistent rate monthly way has created a huge amount. This rate significantly matters because people have been investing 333 rupees, but they have been investing into PPF, if we say. But PPF has a rate which is almost less than 1.5%, which we are taking as an assumption over here. So PPF is these days giving us 7.1% return. So obviously it will not create that huge amount of surplus for you after 30 years. Rather than 4 crore, it will give you only 1 crore. So this is the reason why majority of India is not having freedom from scarcity of money, because the money they have invested in the instruments has not been generated or has not converted their investment into stupendous wealth. So if I have 4 crore rupees, I'll just shell out 10, 15 lakh. Doesn't matter to me. Like your Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is having huge amount of money, and that's why he invests in crypto. He says, इतने सब 5,000 billion में से 500 billion गए भी तो क्या हुआ? The balance of 4,500 billion are still with me, right? But when you have only 33 lakhs with you, so for that matter, 3 lakh will matter to you, right? In that case, 3 lakh will matter to you. So this is how we use SIP calculator. Another thing is that how to find out that this particular instrument is giving me this return. Okay, so largely people are very skeptic about their returns, and they always ask how much percentage of interest we will get. So 5%, 6%, FDR 7%, Sukanya Samriddhi 8%. So Kisan Vikas Patra maybe 7.5%. These are still quantifiable, but when they go before house property, they are just blank. Is there any individual who has sold or purchased house property stating that it will give me a CAGR, a return of X%? No one. They always talk about in absolute term कि मैंने 1 करोड़ में खरीदा था और अब 10 साल बाद 1 करोड़ 25 लाख का हो गया in a period of 10 years. You won't believe this is much less than a FDR return. It is 2.26%. It's better that this fellow would have kept the entire amount in the saving account and fetched 3.5%, and maybe in a fixed deposit would have fetched post-tax 4% in the last 10 years rather than investing in a house property worth rupees 1 crore. For buying this house property of worth rupees 1 crore, they might have shelled either their savings or taken an EMI, giving an interest rate of say 8, 8.5, 9, 10%, and you add up this CAGR to it, it is actually giving you a negative return of 7%. So you have paid 8.5% on the home loan, you have generated a return of 2%. So your actual effective returns on this house property, the so-called asset, is negative 7 or 6.75%. So you need to have this evaluation of rate of return, CAGR, the compounding annual growth rate, not the absolute growth rate, for each investment alternative, because you have been checking this in PPF, you have been checking this in fixed deposit, you have been checking this in recurring deposit. You also want to see in equity or mutual funds, but you don't want to see in house property. And in many cases, people don't want to see it even in equity. In equity, they just want to see that I invest today, and after month, 3 months, 4 months, maximum year, I should get it double. 100% return. Double means there is no sense to it getting 100% CAGR. So this is another calculator. So if suppose rather than buying a house property, I would have invested into Nifty for 10 years, the value would have been 4.4 crore rather than 1.25 crore, which is the value of a house property, right? So this is how you need to calculate the differentials with respect to time value of money. So if I buy, say, if I need to compare that today I'm going to buy a house property which is available for 1 crore and it was available 10 years back at 80 lakhs. What has been the rate of its compounding? 80 lakhs becoming 1 crore in 10 years, 2.26. We presume that this house property will grow at the same rate, right? And I invest this 80 lakhs or rather 50 lakhs at 16% or 15%, right? For 10 years, I'll get 2.2 crores. Fine. With lesser amount of money, with a better instrument, I'm able to get 2.2 crores. And the house property at best will become will become 1.25 crores. So I still have a surplus of 75, more than 80 lakhs, 2.2 crores, 1.2 crores. So I have a surplus of 1 crore. Even if my rate of return decreases from 15 to 13 to 14 to 12%, I'm still going to make a huge difference from this house property because this rate of return is 2.2%. Even if it doubles to 4%, because everyone says that, "Arey, abhi nahi liya to aap kabhi ghar nahi kharid sakte," right? So in that case, even if it doubles the speed of growth, right, my CAGR is more than 10%. So even if it doubles, I'm generating returns at a rate of more than 10%, which is still more than 250%, right? Is this fine? So we will move ahead and we will also see the step-up calculator, like how this is Finology calculators. If you just type www.finology.in/calculators, you will get the screen. You will get all these calculators. A lump sum calculator, that is, you invest one time at a fixed rate. What will be the amount which you get in the times to come? This is SIP calculator, the one which we saw. Goal planning, that suppose you need 1 crore rupees after 10 years, and you can invest in an instrument which is giving you a 12% or 13% or 20% CAGR or say 7% CAGR, how much amount you should invest today. So this is, just click on launch calculator, targeted wealth, say 1 crore you want to generate. Your expected return is say 13%, and 10 years you want to have this. So 29.46 lakh is the amount which you should invest right now as a one-time amount, right? So this is how it is there. So if you don't have 1 crore rupees, that doesn't mean that you can't buy a house property, or it doesn't mean that you should have a EMI of 110 lakh, 1 lakh rupees ki EMI loge tabhi 1 crore ka le sakte ho. So if you have 30 lakhs rupees, you invest it properly, judiciously, and then it can be converted into 1 lakh. Oh, sorry, 1 crore, right? Similarly is goal planning SIP, that if you don't even have 30 lakhs with you, what would be the outcome? Can you have it monthly basis? How much amount you would like to have on monthly basis? So this is 1 crore rupees, which you want to have at 13% after 10 years. So you need to invest 40,000 rupees per month. So if you buy a house property by taking a loan for 1 crore rupees, your EMI would be somewhere around 95 lakh with 9% interest rate, right? So 95 lakh or 95,000 as an EMI or 40,000 as an investment. Which one is better, right? So you need to evaluate your alternatives in terms of time value, in terms of your CAGR, and in terms of your compounding. Okay. When these three things are taken together, it creates a huge amount of inputs for a better decision making. Okay, and one more thing which I wanted to show you was the step up calculator, which is used in NPS also. And here it is. The step up calculator, you are investing monthly, say 10,000 rupees. You get an increment of say 5%. So you increase 5% per annum. Expected rate of return is same 13 or 14%. After 15 years, you will be having 74 lakhs with you, right? And if you go on with this, obviously, so if you do not have this amount increasing every year, the 74 lakh would be lesser, would be less. So this is the amount from 25 lakh of principal amount, you have created 3 times the money, and that too at a return of 14%. And if you were awake in the previous session of asset management company, then you might have also seen the rate of returns of mutual funds. So if you want me to show you, I can show you that is it possible to get 14% or not. Rather, I'll show you something else. Morningstar.in. This is one of the website which we normally check to find out for long-term compounding, right? Right. So suppose I pick one of my stock, say Asian Paint. Asian Paint bichara 1 saal se is on holiday. So if you will check the stock price, whatever stocks I'm referring here, they are only for example, there are no recommendation, and some of them are also in my portfolio. So they are only for illustration purpose. So say Asian Paints is there. This is the ordinary share of Asian Paint. So till the time that website is booting, this is the Asian Paints page. This is screener.in. I use multiple, sources to analyze the price and the movements, because when I need to shop, I do refer Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra. So when I have to invest, I should also refer to Screener, Money Control, Market Mojo, and other stuff which I can have a look at. So you can see that a 10-year CAGR is 19%. That means someone who bought Asian Paints on 2nd Feb 2013 has been able to generate a CAGR of 19%. And we have been taking example of 12, 13, 14, 15. And this is despite the fact that from the last 1 year, it has given a negative 14% return. This website shows you a further extension of performance of 15 years. Now, this is only a report card of an individual. जैसे जब हम hiring करते हैं, when we go and hire assistant professors, we say कि ठीक है, 10th में अच्छे marks हैं, 12th में है, UG में अच्छे marks हैं, PG में अच्छे marks हैं, PhD में भी publications हैं, उतना बुरा इंसान नहीं होगा ये, teacher नहीं होगा, right? So we have a habit of evaluating people on the basis of past performance. But past performance is not the guarantee of future performance, right? So this is only an indicator. कि हाँ ये ठीक ठाक है या नहीं, ये screening के लिए है. So if all our teachers, then this is an API. This is only indicative. कोई जरूरी नहीं है जो 100 पे है वो बढ़िया है और जो 80 पे है वो खराब है, right? So in 15 years, it has created 23.85%, in 10 years, 20.414, and so on and so forth. So the point is that the longer you hold, the better are the probability of generating good returns. So how do we get to see this? This entire phenomena of holding for a longer period was given in USA by Robert Kirby. Robert Kirby was a mutual fund manager, asset manager, and he said that what he did was he had a client and he created a portfolio for him, and after some time, maybe a couple of years, 1 year or 1.5 years, Unfortunately, that client died. And after 10 years, the widow of that client came to Robert Kirby saying that, sir, whatever I am today, it is just because of you. And he was clueless that why. He said that you created this portfolio for my husband. He died, unfortunately, but I was not able to sell it. Today, when I saw this, and I've been able to get whatever dividends, minor amount credited, I was somehow managing. But today, after 8 years or 10 years, this is stupendous amount of wealth for me. And that's what power of compounding did. And the term coffee can investing emerged, and it was given by Robert Kirby, the principal investment manager in 1984. And he started this technique of calling a coffee can investing. Similar technique is also taken up by Indian portfolio management service investors like Marcellus Group and others. And you can also find them selling off different schemes. But PMS schemes are not like mutual fund ki minimum 500 rupees, 1000 rupees so you can invest. You need to invest minimum 25 lakh in their schemes. So there are certain similar parameters. Coffee can investing says that the relevance to global literature is limited to Indian markets due to combination of three factors. That whatever has happened in US in 80s, will it be possible to happen that in 8 years or 10 years, similar kind of growth will be seen? So Buffett explains this as a feature of economic growth. Just, you might have heard this thing at your places. How many of you are in the early ages of 20, 25, 30 or 35? They might be hearing from their parents that हम इतने पैसे नहीं खर्च करते थे. These things which you buy a shoe for a 2000 rupees or 1000 rupees, whatever you buy today, your parents would not have been buying the same kind of things and not spending the same amount of money on these items. So the kind of consumerism which was there 10 years, 20 years, 30 years back was not the same which we have today. And if those who are having kids can see that the way they spend, we have not even spent, right? So if I look at my son and I say that whatever stupid things you are buying, my parents never allowed me to buy all these things. And I didn't have that much of money to buy these things very frequently. So the consumerism is further going to increase year on year basis, right? This increase in consumerism is actually the key of knowing that what was not yesterday will be there tomorrow, okay? Because of consumerism. Consumerism is triggered by production. Production leads to consumption. Consumption triggers creation of products. So 90% of Indian household savings are actually in real estate and gold, whereas in US, it's almost 40-45%. And that's why it is $20 trillion economy or $20 trillion MCAP market, right? India is roughly $3.5 trillion MCAP market. So if we multiply ourselves to 5 times even, then also we will not be able to reach the value of MCAP, which is there with USA. But the best part is that MCOM students in their last semester did one small exercise to find out that whether investments have grown beautiful, have created stupendous wealth in US market or in UK market or in Indian market or in Vietnamese market. And from UK and US, we were way ahead. So we were around at 9.5% CAGR in the last 30 years, whereas US was at 2.5 or 3%, right? So these are some of the examples which shows that how compounding has been generated. This is a picture of, this was there in the book I was reading, CCP, Coffee Can investment. So this is a coffee can portfolio return generated at a longer duration of time. So showing you a CAGR of and the benefit of compounding. So you see that in 2000, the portfolio, the Sensex gave a CAGR of 16.0%. In 2001, 20%, then 20, 20, 19, 16, 11, 9, 8, 11, 10, 10, 13, 3, 8, 6, 15. So you have a huge amount of data with you, and you see 17 years through this. It's not that during these 17 years, nothing negative happened. During these 17 years, Kargil war happened. During these 17 years, major change of government happened. During these 17 years, subprime crisis happened. During these 17 years, another government change happened. Another legislation and demonetization happened. So crises are part of the market cycles. But only those businesses which are having the credibility of survival, and credibility of survival is gauged from what? Durable competitive advantage, will only be able to survive the crisis, right? So this is a probability chart. This probability chart shows that if you hold an equity for an hour, there is a 50% probability that you will make a profit. If you hold an equity for an hour, 1 hour, there is a 50% probability that you will earn a profit. If you increase this holding to 1 month, it will slightly increase to 56, 57%. If you go on to 1 year, it will go up to 70%. That 70% are chances you will make a positive return. Once you hold it for more than 10 years, there are 100% chances, probability that you are going to make a positive return. And this 100% is for eternity. That if you keep holding a company which is having a durable competitive advantage, if it loses the durable competitive advantage, then it can come down. But if it maintains that durable competitive advantage, this particular equity or any other equity for that matter, having DCA, will be having a probability to generate 100% positive returns. That is the only point which people are afraid of. So these are another examples of compounding. So I'll just give you a quick snapshot. 5:30 तक है ना, या 5 o'clock तक था? 5:30.
Ma'am, it is all up to you. If you want to just wind up, fine. Then we can just continue for question and answer.
Okay. So I'll just give you a quick input so that people can read on their own that how to identify companies with durable competitive advantage, and especially those who are teaching personal finance, it will be of great help to them. There's a book based on the methods of Warren Buffett, which is called Interpretation of Financial Statements, written by Mari Buffett and David Clark. Mari Buffett is the first daughter-in-law of Warren Buffett. So how to identify great companies? So those companies which are having the capability of thriving in economic down cycles. So those companies.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you please put it on slide share because the caps is very small?
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So the first thing is to thrive in economic down cycles. So whenever you see a crisis period, whenever you see demonetization, whenever you see COVID crisis, pandemic, whenever you see Ukraine-Russia war, what you see is that whatever happens to their stock price, what is happening to their profit, what is happening to their revenue, what is happening with their margins. So if their net profit margin, gross profit margin, operating profit margins, their revenue is stable, okay? It doesn't matter if they have decreased from 30% to 25%. It's fine because heavens are falling, okay? When there is a Ukraine-Russia war, heavens are falling. It's not a normal business situation. So in that case, if the company is able to thrive in the economic down cycle, they are having some amount of greatness in them. If they're enduring difficult economic condition like inflation, heavy inflation is there, heavy raw material cost is there, huge pressure on flow of funds. Interest rates are hiking on quarter basis and month on month basis. So despite these economic conditions and pressures, the company is able to thrive their growth strategy or story in their revenue, their operating profit margin, their gross profit margin, and their net profit is there. Okay, within the range of plus minus 5 or 10% is okay, but it's there. They have not gone to losses. That means some greatness is there. And greatness is not temporary. It's not that it will great today, it will become bad in the next quarter. That will be there throughout, right? So these type of qualities, which makes them do not get disrupted, that tomorrow some company XYZ comes and their entire business will be taken off. No. So that kind of companies will have greatness. So these are some of the parameters which is reflected in that book also, that a company having return on capital employed more than the cost of capital. So if a company is making cost of capital of selling the goods at this level and their return on capital employed as this, so this gap is actually their margin. On this gap, they survive. This gap is the creation of free cash flow. This free cash flow will be utilized in the crisis period to supply their or to support their margins, right? So if a company is generating return on capital employed for more than 15%, it's a very good company. And if it is more than 23%, it's phenomenal. In case of banking, we do not see return on capital employed because capital is their core business. So we look at return on equity, which is again good if they are having it more than 10%. That is phenomenal in case of a banking and NBFC business. If they're having a revenue growth of 10% or more, it's phenomenal. This is given in the book because at the time, in the book of Consistent Compounders, the Mukherjee et al., written by Mukherjee and all, Coffee Can Investment, when the GDP growth is 10%, the companies who are contributing to that GDP are also expected to grow at a same rate. So if our GDP growth today is 6.5 or 7%, or hovering between 6.5 or 7%, so having an 8% revenue growth is very good. Okay, suppose tomorrow or after 5 years or 3 years, the GDP growth increases to 11%. Then a company having a revenue growth of 8% will not be a good one. They should have close to 11% or 12 or 13% would be great. So the companies which are contributing to that GDP growth should also match that GDP growth. So from there, this 10% comes. But 10% is very reasonable because in US and other countries which are established and developed, you will not find this kind of growth rate. Holding such companies for a longer duration of 8 to 10 years creates higher and higher earning and huge amount of stupendous wealth. They have prudent capital allocations. They invest in the business in such a manner that their investment generates higher return. So these are CapEx decisions. I think CapEx decisions are largely that how their operations are being managed, how they are investing in their technology expansion. So if it is a banking and NBFC, they have a threat from fintechs. So whether they are imbibing AI and ML and fintech, ease of fintech or ease of doing, which is there with fintech in their banking and NBFC systems to have better market penetration, then they will be having a better outlook in the years to come. So even if you look at the stocks which have been there in the market but have not done well from the stock price perspective, always check whether they have done well from the business perspective, whether their revenue was negative, whether their profit was negative, whether their operating margins were negative. If no, and the stock has declined, that means this is the time to ride the ship. It is going to be on the positive note, right? So this is a schedule. There has been times, ये जो बड़े-बड़े stocks होते हैं, ये there was one author, Saurabh Mukherjee. He's a master's from London School of Economics, and he's a CEO and CIO, Chief Investment Officer of Marcellus, he says that these are big banks. These are moody people, and they go on long vacations. So if you check the pricing of HDFC Bank, it will not move for a period of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and then there will come a period when it will take a huge leaps and bounds, move in huge leaps and bounds. Similarly, in case of Asian Paints or Pidilite, they will have period of 1.5 years for when they give even negative return, similarly like Asian Paints. But after that negative return period, they will give a stupendous rise. So these companies keep doing their business with capex on enhancing their profitability, with concentrating on increased revenue and profit, but their stock price is moody. They are on vacation. They don't see it as a major input that, oh, our stocks are negatively going, so we should be bothered about it. They bother about the top line, that is revenue growth. They are bothered about the bottom lines, that is profit and profit growth, and their margins. So this is about Asian Paints. So it was on leave of 18 months, holidaying from 10 to 11, 15 months from 12 to 13, then during 15 to 16, during 17 to 18. But we have seen this is 10 to 12. This is the graph of Asian Paint from 2010 to 2022. And one more year added, you saw that it has given a CAGR of 19%. For 15 years, it has given a CAGR of more than 22%. So that is huge amount. So if I just simply put this 22% in a 80 lakh thing, or rather in a lump sum calculator rather. Suppose I have 10 lakh rupees today. Sorry, I've invested at 22% for 15 years. This is 1.97 crore. This is once a 10 lakh rupee invested in Asian Paint 15 years back, right? You just need to find out that whether this company is able to generate the similar returns in their revenue, profit, operating profit margin, and market share, whether their market dominance is still there or not, right? Stock price will follow, okay? So this is another screenshot which I found interesting. It was a 20-year CAGR to December 2022. Prices closing on 31st December 2022 from 31st December 2002. So someone invested on 31st December 2002 and and those investments were held in his or her portfolio. So the portfolio return has been, so the equity return has been 31% in Kotak Mahindra, Axis, Citi, this, and there has been negative numbers as well. Punjab and Sindh, RBL, Central Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, Dhanlaxmi, IDFC, Yes Bank, Indian Bank. So these are the lower chunks. These are the banks which have not been there or known for their revenue growth or their profit growth, right? But whereas these are the banks like 24% for 20 years is phenomenal. 24% for 20 years is phenomenal. SIP calculator में 24% पे अगर आप calculation करके देखोगे, then only you will be able to find out that how phenomenal it is. So this same 8,334 for 20 years at 24%. This is why this is the same 8,033 rupees, which teachers have been doing largely because they have been investing 1 lakh rupees for saving the tax, should have created 4.9 crores, but it is not the same case, right? And for 35 years, it creates 1,73,000. And that's how Aditya Puri created a wealth of more than 800 crores from his ESOPs. Last leg, how much I should invest in less risky or more risky, because end of the day, everyone says equity is risky. So it's a simple formula. It's not given by me. It's there by literature. You can find. I got this formula from Specified. And this 100 minus my age. So whatever is your age, 100 minus that number gives you the amount which you need to invest in equity. So suppose you're 30 years old, you can go with 70% allocation in equity, 30% debt. Debt doesn't mean that you will go and buy bonds. Debt is also equivalent to PPF, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, post office schemes. Debt is something which is secure, which will give you back the amount of return which has been stated. So 8%, 7% is reasonably good. So PPF I look at as a debt component. So if I started investing, I put 70% in equity, I put 30% in debt. Rather than personally, I don't put 30%, I just keep 20, 25% at best. Because I feel that if I know how to earn 20%, why would I keep my money at 7%, right? So that's how it is. There are certain mistakes which we should not do. This is important. We should not, find out unjustified selection of asset class as investment, like, buying a bigger house property that after 5 years down the line, it will be useful for me. I don't know where I will be 5 years down the line. I may be in Delhi or I may not be, but wherever I will be sitting, I should have my cash flow, utilizable. It's not that I'm leaving the country, or if I'm relocating to another city and I'm thinking what to do with this house property. There's always a botheration to let it out or to check if some unauthorized people have not captured. Just a minute.
प्रतिभा मैम,
Yes, ma'am.
मैम एक क्वेरी है। ये
Yes, ma'am.
8th सेशन की आपने अटेंडेंस जब इशू की थी ना, तो मैंने वो पहले ही भर दी थी। उसमें 7th लिखा हुआ था, आपने बाद में करेक्ट करके डाला था, तो मैं उसे दोबारा नहीं भर पा रही हूँ।
No, ma'am, if you have already responded, no, it will say कि your response has been recorded. कोई बात नहीं.
ठीक है, थैंक यू मैम।
मैम मेरा 7th वाला सेशन का रह गया था अटेंडेंस।
मैं आपका नाम
रघुनाथ मिश्रा।
But actually, all these attendance is being managed and closed by some, I can say ILLL. So मैं एक बार बात करूँगी. You can just give me the name via
इंटरनेट और नेटवर्क इशू की वजह से बीच में हमको कट हो गया था, फिर मैंने दोबारा
Yeah. So any query?
ठीक है sir, I will.
Something happened actually. Somebody broke the glass
Okay,
of
ma'am.
the window. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Please continue.
Yeah, this is all from my side. If you have any questions, we can just come back, right?
If there is any question, please unmute yourself and speak. Any question from the participants? We strongly encourage all the participants, if you are comfortable, please share your experience for the session also. Anyone?
The session was very insightful and the help in taking the better decision, and SIP calculator was so much good to nice to use, how to use. So thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so Sunana ma'am, you are here? Sunana ma'am? I think due to some problems, Sunana ma'am is, yes, she's here with us. I don't know why she's unable to. Okay, so remaining queries, you can just write down in the chat box. I'll just communicate the same. Due to some problem, I think Sunana ma'am is unable to continue now. So still, I'll say thank you to Sunana ma'am, because she has already given a deep insight over the financial journals, SIP calculators. She also told us about BPF versus SIPs for the retirement plan. Also CAGR, was for the house property. Usually people think that they are investing in the house property and it is good investment. But still, after using this calculations via online, with the help of online calculators, ma'am just gave us example how they are very different. So thank you so much, ma'am. If there is any query, please write down here in the chat. We will just communicate the same and get back to all of you via mail. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. Yes, if you have any query related to attendance, related to no objection certificate or anything, you can just talk, or you can just unmute yourself and speak. Am I audible? Yes, I'll try to talk to. Actually, we have received multiple responses regarding sharing the PPT, and we are talking to the resource persons, and we will share all the PPTs if they allow in one go. So attendance sheet has already been circulated. I request you to just kindly fill all the attendance at the time of the session, because thereafter we are unable to change it. Thank you so much for listening and joining, and kindly make yourself available for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will start at 2:30, and from 5 to 5:30 there will be validatory session. So we will communicate remaining information via email also. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and joining.
Thank you.